The WTO, the World Trade Organization, has played referee to disputes between China and the U.S. almost 50 times. The complaints cover everything from tires to movies, and one of the biggest disputes is the solar panel investigation. Then there's the rare earth cases. China is responsible for 90% of global production of these elements, which are used in electronic devices. Chinese officials want to limit the export of them, but the WTO decided that that would give Chinese firms an unfair advantage. Then there's the poultry case. The WTO ruled that a tariff on American chicken products violated its rules, and China has argued that U.S. poultry prices were too low. Earlier this year, the WTO agreed with China in one case. The organization basically said that just because an export is subsidized by a government, that doesn't mean that it should face a tax penalty. For more on this and an explanation and some help, Liu Baocheng, Dean of the Center for International Business Ethics at the University of International Business and Economics in Beijing, joins us. It's good to see you again, sir. Help us understand this.
Philip.
There's a lot of words going back and forth. Ultimately, what will and how will China respond?
Well, I think China is relying on the WTO rules where the government subsidies for export can be offset through certain measures by imposing import tariff, etc. And in the meantime, China is also moving towards a more environmentally society by limiting the large liter capacity cars. So, this is more of the justification from China's side, although some speculate that, well, China works in retaliation to the number of cases we lost again, with the U.S. over the anti-dumping, over the solar, over the chicken product, etc. In the meantime, I think China didn't do a thorough homework in levying, although qualitatively they are doing the right thing, to my mind, but quantitatively and technically they did it in a hush manner and hush and rush manner, I should say, that they didn't target the specific importer, and they didn't calculate the damages that caused over the Chinese market. And so they need more technical justification in that, and I think it is really pitiful on the China side to lose this case.
That's a good point. Actually, I had a very similar debate earlier in the newsroom with some of our colleagues, and the discussion went something like this. The headlines are the bad words between the two countries going back and forth, both accusing each other of these violations. I'm just curious, you talked to a lot of people there. There must be back-channel discussions that are much more cordial between the two sides. Are we correct to assume that? Well,
I was involved in a number of discussions over the chicken issue and rare earth issue. It seems that we are moving ethically in the right direction with our own justification, but we need a greater lawyer's mind to specify the specific issue and to quantify the damages and subsidies that can be offsetted. So I've been advising that we need to improve on the technical operation of the Chinese side, because we have went through 13 years of WTO rules, and we are now still under fine alignment, not only between domestic rules and global rules, but we also have to improve our technical operation.
I want to get to one more important point. That's obviously what's happened in the past recent history here, and that's this allegation of the spying. That all has to come into play when you talk about business relations between the two countries. From the folks you're talking to, how serious of a concern is it, and how might that impact the trade relations?
I think right now on a macro level, the interdependence between the two biggest economies is still on the rise, and none of us really can afford to lose each other through those technical disputes. So therefore, it is really the intention from both sides to isolate those specific disputes and look at a broader and long picture so that really we can work together. Yes, the more we work together, actually the more disputes we may have. But just through this sort of disputes, and we are able to work on a more consensus, on more conciliated manner, so that we can really, bring a mutually beneficial and smooth trade relations between these two countries.
Dean Liu, I like the fact that you're optimistic about the two sides coming to a more amicable agreement, but I do want to ask you, what do you think the greatest hurdle or challenge is going to be to avoid an escalation of the situation?
Well, I think now, yes, I think both sides still need better communication, better dialogue. We already have a number of vehicles that either on a government level or on a non-government level, we have a number of channels to discuss, and we need to really share and discuss before we really push to the legal settlement. And also that both sides actually need education and learning process to appreciate the situation of each other, so that we can move toward a better picture.
Dean Liu Baocheng, I want to thank you for your time. I know it's Saturday over there. Again, thank you.